Just a little about MRC. We're a not-for-profit industry body in the United States. We were formed at the request of Congress about 55 years ago. And what we do is we audit and accredit research. We set standards for how media is measured. So we accredit research that meets the standards we set. We audit over 100 products a year. We use independent CPAs and a very robust process to do that. And we award accreditation to products that meet our standards. There are many accredited products in the marketplace. So that's kind of our business function. We're consumed by really those two business cycles, accrediting things and writing standards. So probably one of the most prominent things we've been doing recently is writing standards on things like viewability, invalid traffic and fraud, and digital audience measurement. And we're just kicking off now a project on cross-media audience measurement. These are big projects with very large groups of people associated with them, helping us to write and vet the standard, and they become industry standards. And that's been the goal. So
tell us about cross-media, what you hope to establish, what that timeline is, what
Sure.
sort of your objectives are, and how that might develop.
Yeah, so the timeline is somewhat difficult, but we're hoping to have it done, let's say, within the first quarter of 2018. So it'll take between now and then. It's very difficult to develop consensus on these things, but we're going to be handling issues like establishing common metrics across different media types, measurement of duration, deduplication of audiences across media types, the basic measurement reporting parameters, what's a day part, the different types of audience attribution that you do with the transactions. How do you measure the audience? Age, gender, targeting characteristics. So it's a very complex standard that we're working on, and it has a big reach. Right now we're concentrating mostly on video, but it'll be expanded later to include audio and print and other types of media, out of home, etc. So,
well, what is it about video that you want to, figure out?
Well, probably one of the hardest parts of video measurement is to really differentiate the value of the different types of media vehicles appropriately, establish the measurement of it and try to figure out the value of those and build the hooks in so that that value can be determined. So things like how long people stay with the video, how they interact with the video, if there is any measurement of interaction, measuring these things on a common basis and then putting them up next to television measurement, really, which is a big, component that already exists. We also are concentrating on differentiating and measuring ads and content separately, which is a key concept of the standard. People need to know, especially advertisers, they need to know how ad performs. But media vehicles like to understand how their content performs and how it attracts, users of their content, how many viewers they have, essentially, so that they can sell their platform to advertisers. And there are actually slightly different orientations to those types of measurements.
And finally, George, the issue of the hygiene of the digital world in terms of viewability and fraud and all these kind of troubled issues that we've been talking about for a couple of years now. What's your thought about where we stand?
Well, I think we're gaining ground. Viewability was a tough standard to set. It was disruptive. It certainly was highly disruptive in the digital marketplace. Very tough medicine to swallow, but now it's been sort of assimilated, made more consistent. You see probably the majority of video buys having some delineation of viewability within them and display buys, so it's becoming a very important standard in the industry. Invalid traffic and fraud, a little bit tougher nut to crack. We've written very strong standards in this area. We've got a lot of really good accredited vendors that are trying to fight the good fight out there, reducing invalid traffic, filtering it. We're making progress. I think if you look at the ANA study that came out not long ago, they're touting some progress among the advertisers that are really concentrating on trying to filter invalid traffic and fraud. So we haven't solved that problem. We're not close to having solutions to it, but we are taking a bite out of it slowly and getting better as we go. So that's sort of my perspective on the two issues.